Hey, what is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantom. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful week so far. I want to talk to you guys a little bit more of a discussion video for tonight's video, but I want to talk about Pokemon in general, the demand, and all the issues that are going on. And specifically, we just got news recently, so this kind of just dropped today, where it's kind of circulating all over the Pokemon community that Target is no longer going to be selling Pokemon cards. This goes into effect starting on May 14th, and the end date is kind of to be determined, so there's no further notice as to when this is going to stop. And I want to kind of talk about what I think that might do to the market, and then what you guys think it might do to the market. It's kind of an unfortunate thing, but as we all know, Pokemon has been just this crazy in-demand item for the past year, and a lot of big box retailers have tried to do things here and there to try and mitigate all the issues of people being able to find products. So obviously there's only so much supply that's available, and the demand is just too insane that supply can't keep up with it. So Target, for instance, has gone kind of above and beyond what other big box retailers have done, and they've really tried to figure out ways that they can kind of combat this. And it just kind of goes to show how terrible it is right now going out there and trying to find Pokemon cards. But originally what Target did is they tried limiting items to, let's say, 2 per person. And then when that didn't work as much as they thought it was going to be, they started this whole line scenario where you had to get in line Friday mornings at like 8 a.m. I think it is. And you could go and wait in line. You would get a text message when your turn came up, and you could go up and you could pick up one of each Pokemon item that you wanted. So you could get a tin, you could get one blister pack, you could get one theme deck, and you would be able to go and check out, and it would all be kind of under surveillance, and it would be kind of supervised and things like that. Then recently, as I think it was April 30th or somewhere around there, Target actually changed their policy to say that now you can only get one item, period. So this is only one item. You could only get one Pokemon tin or one Pokemon blister in order to keep up with demand. And this wasn't just Pokemon that has been an issue. This has happened with sports cards as well. Baseball cards, basketball cards, football cards, they have all had, issues as well. This hasn't happened so much with like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering or Garbage Pail Kids, or I think like Frozen 2 has trading cards that you can still go find in stores if you really want. And those won't be limited. But Target kind of tried to go above and beyond and do other things that they could figure out in order to help kind of stem the whole scalping issue that we've been having over the past year. Unfortunately, it hasn't gotten better, and it's gotten worse. And recently, there was something that actually just happened not too far away from me, about 45 minutes away from where I am. There was a disturbance, I guess, that broke out, or a fight that broke out, or a violent. I guess it wasn't necessarily violent because nothing terrible physically happened, but there was a lot of scaring. There was a big scare that happened involving weapons and involving violent threats and things like that at a Target about 45 minutes away, where the police were called. And this has happened at a lot of big box retailers throughout the past year. And we've seen Meijer, we've seen Walmart try and figure out ways that they can kind of help mitigate the issue, where they've had Pokemon cards kind of pulled off the shelf and put behind the customer service desk, and you had to go up and actually ask for Pokemon cards if you wanted them. Target is actually taking things one step further, and I'm going to show the article or the notice right up here, but it says, to ensure the safety of our guests and team members, effective May 14th, MLB, NFL, NBA, and Pokemon trading cards will no longer be sold in stores until further notice. And that's very, very disappointing because, as we all know, Target is a store, that's going to be selling cards at MSRP. They get stocked from different marketing companies that go in and stock these big box retailers. So you have like MJ Holdings, you have Excel Marketing, you have these companies that go in and stock Meijer and Walmart and Target, these vendors that go in and they stock the Pokemon cards, so that way everybody can find these cards, has the opportunity of finding these cards at MSRP. And even though it's difficult, and even though it's a process and a lot of people have to wait in line, and that's kind of a nuisance, you at least get the opportunity to get that. Unfortunately, this is an area where kids are able to get Pokemon cards. Kids can go to a Target, and let's say for example that their parents are going there, since it's an all one-stop shop. They can go out and they're looking for household goods, they're looking for paper toweling, they're looking for paper plates and things like that, and you might be able to convince your mother and father that you want to get a pack of Pokemon cards, and since it's there, they might be like, oh yeah, sure, why not? But unfortunately, that's not going to be able to happen anymore because Target's no longer going to be carrying Pokemon cards, and that's kind of what really bothers me the most. And I know it's been very difficult to find Pokemon cards, especially at Target. I did stop into my local Target recently, as early as today, just to go because I had to go pick up some household goods that my wife had placed an order online. So I went in there and I kind of looked around to see if this sign was up, because I saw this sign circulating around on Facebook earlier today, and I wanted to see if this was more of just a kind of a segregated thing where it was only happening in certain areas, or if this was more of a national thing. So I looked around a little bit, and as soon as I walked into the door, there was a sign on the door right away that said that exact same thing. And I went over by the trading cards, and there were Battle Styles blisters available, and there were theme decks available, but it said the same thing. It said that starting May 14th, Target will no longer be carrying Pokemon cards. I walked over to the game section to see if there was any sign back there, and there wasn't. There was a sign that said that on April 30th, they were going to limit things to one, so they clearly hadn't updated that sign yet. But then when I went over to the guest service counter to pick up our online order, there were signs just plastered all over the place. So they are kind of putting this point across throughout Target, making sure that it's well known that they're no longer going to be able to carry Pokemon cards, just to keep things safe for their team members and for customers, for guests, because you don't want to be going to Target and seeing this long line of people who are kind of scrapping and fighting over Pokemon cards. Like, that's not what this game is about. So it's kind of very disappointing, right? And it just makes me wonder, are other big box retailers going to follow suit? Are we going to have an issue where Walmart no longer sells Pokemon cards? And a lot of Walmarts have already gotten to that point where they stopped carrying them, or they carry a very limited amount of them. And I don't know how much of that is actually those specific Walmarts, or if it's more of the marketing companies that stock them. But I've seen a lot of companies not carry them at all, not have the peg hooks available, and have nothing behind the customer service desk. And it really makes you wonder what's going on and what's going to happen in the future. The reason that I'm most concerned about it is, here we are, we're in the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. We know that there's going to be a major set that's going to come out sometime at the end of the year. We got news today that there is a confirmation that Eevee Heroes, the next set, is going to come out on August 27th. So that is really, really quick turnaround from Chilling Reign to Eevee Heroes, which is going to get us back on that standard release schedule. And then we're going to be having that special set sometime in like October, November. And it's going to be more and more difficult for people to be able to find these at MSRP. And that's what's concerning to me, because what does that do for the growth of the game? What does that do for the game moving forward? Because these are generations of people that we're trying to make sure stay into Pokemon and continue getting interested in Pokemon. And when you're walking to the store with your kids, or if you're with friends and you walk into the store and you see, obviously we all know where Pokemon cards are at Target. You walk down, as soon as you walk into the entryway of the store, and you walk down to the left or to the right, depending on what Target you go to, and right at the end of the registers, there's just this giant section right before the first lane that's all trading cards. If there's no Pokemon cards there, there's not going to be anything that catches children's eyes. It's not going to be anything that catches future collectors' eyes or future game players' eyes. And that's what's concerning to me. If you go into a situation where we've got 6, 7, 8 months where there's no Pokemon cards at big box retailers like Target is a big retailer, and if they're halting the sales on these, what is that going to do to the future of the game? Now, when it comes to the actual market pricing of the cards themselves, I also am concerned about that, because if big box retailers who are required to sell at MSRP are no longer selling at MSRP, that means that the only game in town is going to be a local game store or your local hobby store. And a lot of places, unfortunately, don't have a local game store within driving distance, or the closest one within driving distance, is 45 minutes, an hour away. I've talked to people before who their closest hobby store is 3 hours away. And that's too far for people to travel to get Pokemon cards. And all that does is it limits people to being able to only order on eBay, or only order on Amazon, or only order online. Then you're not getting that instant gratification of being able to buy cards right away and open them. You have to wait for them to get shipped to you. And it's kind of a nuisance for some people, because they want to be able to go out and just get their cards right away, come back and open them. Sometimes it's just an impulse buy. That's the great thing about going to like a big box retailer like Target or Walmart, is if you're going for something else and you just kind of impulse buy some packs just for something to do or just to enjoy that purchase, it's not going to be available anymore for them to do it. And that's kind of what bothers me about that. But when it comes to the market price, if your LGS is selling only at market price or even slightly above market price, that really limits the growth of the game if you're not able to get anything at MSRP. And when you get rid of these big box retailers from selling cards at MSRP, even though it's a nuisance to have to stand in line for a couple hours to get the cards, for a lot of people it's worth it, just so that they can have something to open, just so that they can keep that interest in the game going. And if they don't have that, it's very, very unfortunate. So I don't know exactly what this is going to do to the market. It'll be interesting to see how the market gets impacted by this. But ultimately, the big issue here is that it really, really just kind of puts a damper on the future collectors and the future of the game, the future of the hobby, because obviously what's most important to me, and one thing that we've preached for a long time and why we keep things at MSRP and why we drop promo codes, in videos to try and bring things down to MSRP so that way everybody can continue to order things from us at that price point, is because we want to see the game grow and we want that longevity. And if big box retailers are not going to be able to sell these cards for safety issues, where is this game going? And that's kind of what's frustrating. So I'm very curious and interested to see what you guys think of all this news. Some people think that it's a good thing because of all the issues that it brings up, and I totally get that. I understand where you're coming from. Some people think it's terrible because that's the only place that they can go to get Pokemon cards. So I understand both sides of the coin, but I'm curious to see if you've seen these signs kind of pop up at your Target now and what you think big box retailers are going to do moving forward. If you think this is going to kind of follow suit into other big box retailers, and what you might do if you're somebody who goes to Target to get cards, what you might have to do now. My main concern is that a lot of people are going to kind of drop out of the hobby because this might be like the straw that breaks the camel's back. This might be the one thing that kind of pushes people over the edge where they're like, you know what, I just can't deal with this anymore. And that's what bothers me. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think. This is kind of big news, and that's why I wanted to talk about it tonight. It's kind of not our typical conversational piece, but I wanted to bring it up and just see what everybody thought about it. I know it's been a buzz all over Twitter, and a lot of people have been talking about it already, so I'm curious to hear what everybody's thoughts are. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are all doing well. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. Really appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, peace.